Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Feel Learns English. My name is Shafi, and I will be your host today. I'm very happy to have you here. If this is your first time watching our channel, welcome. On this channel, we upload new English learning videos every single day. Our goal is to help you speak English more clearly, more naturally, and with more confidence in your real life. In today's video, you are not only going to listen, you are also going to practice speaking English with me. This lesson is designed to help you use the kind of English that people use every day in real conversations. Today's lesson is about 80 very useful English phrases for daily life. These are common phrases that people use when talking to friends, speaking at work, asking for help, or making small talk. You will hear how native speakers use these phrases naturally, and you will practice them step by step so they stay in your memory. By the end of this lesson, you will not only know these 80 useful phrases, but you will also understand how and when to use them. This will help your English sound more natural, smooth, and confident. Before we start, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell icon. That way you won't miss any of our daily English lessons. Now grab a pen and a notebook, relax, and let's begin. First, let's think about one important idea. Most daily conversations are made of short and simple phrases. People do not usually speak in long or difficult sentences. They use quick and natural phrases again and again. If you learn these small phrases, your English will improve much faster. Native speakers use these phrases without thinking. When you learn them, you don't need to translate in your head anymore. You can respond quickly, clearly, and confidently. This is a big step toward fluency. So the first step to speaking English well is to learn the phrases that native speakers use every day. Let's start with greetings and conversation openers. These are the words we use when we first meet someone. Instead of always saying hi or hello, you can try phrases like hey there or what's up. These sound friendly and natural. For example, when you walk into your office, you might say, hey there, how's your morning going? Or when you meet a friend at a cafe, you can say, what's up, long time no see. These phrases make conversations feel relaxed and friendly. Now let's practice together. Repeat after me. Hey there. What's up? Long time no see. How's your day going? These short phrases are powerful because they show interest and help you connect with people easily. Next, let's talk about small talk phrases. Small talk helps keep conversations going and makes people feel comfortable. These are simple sentences like, nice weather today, isn't it? How was your weekend? Did you catch the game last night? These questions are not deep, but they help start conversations. For example, at a bus stop, you might say, it's really cold today, right? That one sentence can lead to a friendly chat. The goal of small talk is not to talk a lot. The goal is to make others feel relaxed and comfortable with you. Let's practice a few more. Repeat after me. How's everything going? Busy day today. Did you do anything fun this weekend? Try to imagine using these phrases in a coffee shop, at work, or while waiting in line. When you practice in your mind, your brain starts thinking in English naturally. Now let's move on to common responses. When someone asks, how are you? You don't always need to say, I'm fine, thank you. Native speakers use many different answers. You can say, I'm doing well. Not too bad. Can't complain. If someone asks how you are, you might say, pretty good, thanks. How about you? If you're having a difficult day, you can say, I've been better. This sounds polite and honest. Let's repeat these together. Pretty good, thanks. Not too bad. Can't complain. I've been better. These responses make your English sound natural, not like a textbook. Finally, let's look at agreement and disagreement phrases. In daily conversations, we often want to agree or share our opinion. Instead of just saying yes, try phrases like, exactly, that's so true, I totally agree with you. These show that you are listening and engaged. For example, if your friend says, this weather is driving me crazy, you can reply, totally, I'm so ready for spring. That one sentence sounds natural, friendly, and real. Now let's practice these together. Repeat after me. Exactly. That's true. Totally agree. You're right about that. These phrases help your conversations feel smooth, friendly, and engaging. They show that you are listening and that you respect the other person's opinion. Now let's talk about polite disagreement. Sometimes you don't agree with someone, but it's important to sound respectful. Instead of saying, "No, you're wrong," you can use softer and more polite phrases. For example, you can say, "I see your point, but I think," or "That's interesting, but have you thought about," or "I understand what you mean, but." Imagine you are in a group discussion. Someone says, "I think English grammar is useless." You can respond politely by saying, "I get where you're coming from, but grammar helps us stay clear when we speak." This kind of response shows respect while still sharing your own opinion. It keeps the conversation calm and friendly. Let's practice these phrases together. Repeat after me. I see your point, but... That's interesting, but I feel... I'm not sure I agree with that. Try using these phrases in your daily conversations, even in your head. The more you practice, the easier and more natural they will feel. Next, let's move on to asking for help. This is something we all do at school, at work, or while traveling. Instead of saying only "help me," you can use more polite and natural phrases. For example, "Could you give me a hand?" "Do you mind helping me with this?" "Would you happen to know?" "Can I ask you a quick question?" If you are lost in a city, you can say, "Excuse me, would you happen to know where the train station is?" This sounds much more polite than just saying, "Where is the station?" Let's practice together. Could you give me a hand? Do you mind helping me? Would you happen to know? Can I ask you a quick question? Try using these phrases with friends or even in online chats. Saying them out loud helps you remember them better. Now let's talk about giving and receiving thanks. Of course, we all know "thank you," but native speakers often use different phrases to sound more natural and expressive. You can say, "Thanks a lot." "I really appreciate it." "That means a lot to me." When replying, instead of only saying "You're welcome," you can say "No problem." Anytime. "Glad I could help." "You got it." For example, your coworker brings you coffee. You say, "Thanks so much, I really needed that." They reply, "No worries, anytime." That conversation sounds relaxed and friendly. Let's practice a few. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. That means a lot. Now the replies. No problem. You got it. Glad I could help. Use these phrases when texting friends or writing emails. The more you use them, the more natural they become. Next, let's look at ending a conversation politely. Knowing how to finish a conversation in a nice way is very important. Some useful phrases are, "I'd better get going." "It was great talking to you." "Talk to you later." "Let's catch up soon." For example, when finishing a conversation with a friend, you might say, "It was great talking to you. Let's catch up again next week." This leaves a warm and positive feeling. Let's practice. "I'd better get going." "It was great talking to you." "Talk to you later." "Let's catch up soon." These phrases help you end conversations smoothly and politely. Now let's talk about making plans. In daily life, we often plan meetings, outings, or quick chats. Instead of saying, "Let's meet," try more natural expressions. For example, "Want to grab a coffee sometime?" "Let's hang out soon." "We should catch up." "Let's touch base tomorrow." If you're texting a friend, you might write, We should hang out this weekend. I miss our talks. At work, you could say, let's touch base tomorrow and finalize the report. Let's practice together. Want to grab a coffee? Let's hang out sometime. We should catch up. Let's touch base tomorrow. Using these phrases will help you sound friendly and confident. Now let's move on to expressing opinions. In English, there are many ways to share what you think. Instead of always saying, I think, you can say, in my opinion. If you ask me, personally, I feel that, to be honest. For example, if someone says, I didn't like the ending of the movie, you can reply, personally, I thought it was perfect. It wrapped everything up nicely. These expressions make your English more interesting and personal. Let's practice. In my opinion, personally, I feel that. If you ask me, to be honest. You can use these in conversations, interviews, or even when writing reviews. Next, let's talk about showing surprise or excitement. These phrases add emotion to your English and are very common in real life. You can say, no way. You're kidding. That's amazing. How cool is that? That's awesome. I can't believe it. If a friend tells you they got a job abroad, you might say, wow, that's incredible. I'm so happy for you. Let's practice. No way. You're joking. That's incredible. I can't believe it. That's awesome. Using emotion makes your English feel alive and natural. Now let's look at offering help or support. These phrases are kind and caring. Instead of saying only, I can help, try, do you need a hand? Let me know if you need anything. I'm here for you. I've got your back. For example, if a classmate is struggling, you can say, let me know if you want me to look it over. Let's practice. Need a hand with that? Let me know if you need anything. I'm here for you. I've got your back. These phrases make you sound warm and supportive. You can say things like, I didn't mean to, or I'm really sorry about that, or even, it won't happen again. These phrases show that you take responsibility and that you care about the situation. For example, if you miss a meeting, you can say, I'm really sorry I missed the call. It won't happen again. This sounds more sincere and respectful than simply saying, sorry. Let's practice these phrases together. I didn't mean to. I apologize for the mistake. It won't happen again. Sorry for the confusion. Use these expressions whenever something goes wrong. Being polite and honest helps build stronger relationships at work and in daily life. Now let's talk about declining an invitation politely. Saying no can feel uncomfortable, but English has many soft and friendly ways to do it. Instead of just saying no, you can say, I'd love to, but I can't. That sounds great, but I'm not free. Maybe another time. For example, if someone invites you out and you are busy, you can say, I'd really like to, but I already have plans. Can we try next week? This keeps the conversation friendly while still setting a clear boundary. Let's practice a few together. I'd love to, but I can't. Thanks for the invite, but I'm busy. Maybe another time. That sounds fun, but I've got other plans. Practicing these phrases will help you respond naturally in real situations without sounding rude. Next, let's look at phrases for confirmation and understanding. These are short responses that show you are listening and following the conversation. Common phrases include, got it, that makes sense, I see what you mean, exactly. For example, in a work discussion, someone might say, we need more time to finish this project. You can respond with, exactly, we're rushing too much. Let's repeat these together. Got it. That makes sense. I see what you mean. Exactly. These small phrases are very powerful. They keep conversations smooth and natural. Now let's move on to encouragement and motivation phrases. These are helpful when someone feels nervous or unsure. You can say, "You've got this." "Don't worry, you'll be fine." "Just give it your best shot." "I believe in you." For example, if a friend is nervous about a test, you might say, "Don't stress. You've studied hard. You've got this." "Let's practice together." "You can do it." "I believe in you." "Give it your best shot." "Don't give up." These phrases are great not only for others, but also for yourself when you need confidence. Next, let's talk about asking for clarification. Sometimes you don't understand what someone said, and that's okay. Instead of saying just "what," you can say, "I didn't catch that. Could you say that again? Do you mind repeating that? What did you say?" Use these phrases confidently. Asking for clarification is a smart communication skill. Now let's look at expressing gratitude for someone's time or support. These expressions make people feel appreciated. You can say, "Thanks for your time. I really appreciate your help. That was very kind of you. Thanks for being there." At the end of a meeting or call, instead of just saying "thanks," you might say, "Thanks so much for taking the time to explain that." Let's practice. "Thanks for your time. I appreciate your help. That was very kind of you. Thanks for being there." These expressions are perfect for work, school, and everyday conversations. Now let's talk about starting conversations with people you don't know well. Small talk helps you feel more comfortable and confident. Instead of just saying, "Hi," try, "How's your day going? What have you been up to lately? Is it always this busy here?" For example, with a new coworker, you might say, "Hey, how's your first week going?" Or while waiting in line at a cafe, you can say, "Lovely weather today, isn't it?" Let's practice a few openers. "How's everything going?" "What have you been up to lately?" "Busy day today." "Lovely weather today, isn't it?" These phrases are useful while waiting for the bus, shopping, or even in an elevator. Finally, let's look at checking in with someone. These phrases show care and interest, especially if you spoke before. You can say, "How have you been?" "Is everything okay?" "I've been thinking about what you said the other day." For example, if a friend mentioned a problem earlier, you might say, "I was thinking about you. How's your dad doing?" This shows empathy and strong communication skills. Let's practice. Just checking in to see how you're doing. "I've been thinking about our conversation. Is everything all right on your end? Hope things are getting better." Now let's explore how to ask for opinions or feedback in a polite and engaging way. In conversations, we don't just want to talk. We also want to listen and invite others to share their thoughts. Instead of always asking, "What do you think?" you can use different and more natural phrases like, "I'd love to hear your thoughts." "What's your take on this?" "Do you agree with that?" "How do you feel about it?" For example, during a group discussion, someone shares an idea and you respond by saying, "That's interesting. What's your take on it, Sarah?" This makes people feel included and shows good communication skills. Let's practice a few together. What do you think about it? Do you agree? How do you feel about that? I'd like to know your opinion. Using these phrases makes you sound thoughtful, polite, and confident, whether you're speaking at work, at school, or in casual conversations. Next, let's talk about explaining your ideas more clearly. Sometimes you need to add details or give examples so others can understand you better. In these situations, transition phrases are very helpful. You can say things like, "Let me explain. What I mean is," for example. For instance, if you say, "I prefer online classes," you can continue with, "Let me explain. I find them more flexible and I can focus better." These small connectors help your English sound smooth, clear, and organized. Now repeat after me. Let me explain. What I mean is, for example. To put it another way, Here's what I'm trying to say. Practice saying these aloud so they become natural. Now, let's focus again on agreeing or disagreeing politely. This is very common in discussions. You don't always want to say, "you're wrong," because that can sound too strong. Instead, you can say, "I see your point, but I understand where you're coming from, however. That's true, but let me add something. I'm not sure I agree completely." Try imagining real discussions while practicing. This will help you use these phrases with confidence. Next, let's look at confirming plans or arrangements. These phrases help you sound clear and organized. Instead of just saying okay, you can say, "Sounds good to me. Let's lock that in. We're all set then. Sounds like a plan." For example, someone says, "Let's meet at 3 p.m." You can reply, "Perfect, I'll see you then." Let's practice. Sounds like a plan. Let's go with that. I'll mark it on my calendar. Looking forward to it. These phrases are very useful at work and in social situations. Now let's talk about casual goodbyes. In everyday life, we don't always say a formal goodbye. Native speakers often use relaxed and friendly expressions. You can say, "Catch you later," "Talk soon," "Take care," "Have a good one," "See you around." For example, after a phone call, you might say, "All right, talk to you soon." Or after lunch with a friend, "Take care, say hi to your sister for me." Let's repeat. Catch you later. Have a good one. See you around. Talk soon. Using these instead of just bye makes your English sound more natural. Now let's move on to shopping and ordering phrases. These are very common in daily life. You can say, "Could I get a coffee, please?" "I'm just browsing, thanks." "Do you have this in a different size?" "Could you check the price for me?" "Could I see the menu, please?" Let's practice a few. "I'll take this one, please." "Do you have any other colors?" "I'm just looking, thanks." "Could I see the menu, please?" Practice these out loud or imagine yourself in a store or a cafe. This will prepare you for real-life situations. Next, let's talk about filler phrases. These are short expressions we use while thinking. Native speakers use them naturally. Common filler phrases include, "well," "you know," "I mean," "let me think." For example, "Well, I'm not sure." "I mean, it depends on the situation." These phrases help your English sound more fluent and natural. Use them lightly, not too much. Let's repeat. "Well, you know," "I mean," "let me think." Finally, let's talk about giving compliments and showing appreciation. Compliments help build strong and friendly relationships. Instead of just saying nice, try expressions like, "That looks great on you." "You're really talented." "I appreciate your help today." "You've been so thoughtful lately." For example, after a colleague finishes a presentation, you can say, "I really liked your presentation. It was clear and well organized." Let's practice a few compliments. "That color looks amazing on you." "You're really talented." "I appreciate your help today." "You've been so thoughtful lately." Try imagining someone standing in front of you while you say these. This helps the phrases feel more natural and ready to use in real conversations. Now, let's look at phrases we often use to encourage others. These are very useful when someone is facing a challenge, feeling nervous, or trying something new. A few kind words can make a big difference. You can say things like, "You've got this." "Don't worry, you're doing great." "Keep going, you're almost there." For example, if a friend feels nervous before a job interview, you can say, "Just be yourself. You've prepared well, and you'll do great." Encouraging words help people feel supported and confident. They also build trust in conversations. Let's practice a few together. I believe in you. You're stronger than you think. You're making great progress. Don't give up. You're almost there. You can use these phrases with friends, classmates, coworkers, or even children. Encouragement helps build strong relationships in both personal and professional life. Now let's move on to expressing surprise or interest. These phrases show that you are listening and paying attention. Instead of just saying, really, try more natural expressions. For example, that's amazing. No way. That's so cool. I didn't know that. Imagine someone tells you they traveled to 5 countries in 1 year. You can respond by saying, wow, that's impressive. What was your favorite place? Let's repeat a few expressions of surprise and interest. Seriously? That's wild. That's so interesting. I can't believe it. These phrases are great for listening to stories and keeping conversations lively. When you use them naturally, you sound engaged and enjoyable to talk to. Next, let's talk about offering help. In daily life, we often want to help others in a polite and thoughtful way. Instead of only saying, do you need help, you can say, can I give you a hand? Would you like me to help you with that? Let me take care of it for you. For example, if a coworker is carrying heavy boxes, you can say, here, let me give you a hand with those. Or if a friend is cooking, you can say, can I help you with the chopping? Let's practice a few helpful phrases. I'd be happy to help. Let me know if you need anything. Is there anything I can do for you? I've got this, don't worry. These phrases make you sound kind, polite, and considerate. Now let's talk about apologizing or expressing regret. This is something we all need to do sometimes. Of course, I'm sorry is common, but there are other polite ways to apologize depending on the situation. You can say, I didn't mean to upset you. That was my fault. I'll fix it. Sorry for the delay. Thanks for waiting. I really appreciate your patience. These expressions help keep relationships positive by showing responsibility and respect. Let's practice together. I'm really sorry about that. Please forgive me. That wasn't my intention. I take full responsibility. Using these phrases shows humility and helps solve misunderstandings calmly. Now let's go over asking someone to repeat or clarify something. This is very important, especially when English is not your first language. Instead of saying, what, try more polite phrases like, could you say that again, please? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Would you mind repeating that? For example, in a noisy place, you can say, I'm sorry, could you repeat that last part? Let's practice. Would you mind repeating that? Sorry, could you speak a bit slower? I didn't quite catch that. What do you mean by that? These phrases show that you care about understanding and respect the conversation. Next, let's talk about expressing your needs politely. In restaurants, shops, or at work, polite requests make a big difference. Instead of saying, I want, use softer phrases like, I'd like. Could I please have? Would it be possible to? For example, at a restaurant, you can say, I'd like the grilled chicken, please. At work, you might say, would it be possible to get that report by Friday? Let's practice a few. I'd like a cup of tea, please. Could I ask you something? Would it be possible to reschedule? I was wondering if you could help me. The more you practice polite requests, the more natural they will feel. Finally, let's look at ending conversations smoothly. Sometimes you need to leave or move on, but you don't want to sound rude or sudden. Instead of just walking away, you can say, anyway, I should get going, or, well, I won't take any more of your time, or, it was really nice talking to you. Let's continue this another time. For example, you can say, anyway, I should get going. It was great talking to you. You can end a conversation by saying, I should get going, or it's been great talking to you, or let's catch up again soon. These expressions help you leave politely and warmly. For example, after a friendly chat at the grocery store, you might say, well, I need to run now. It was lovely chatting with you. Let's repeat a few. Let's talk again soon. It's been really nice talking to you. I should probably get going. Anyway, I'll let you go now. These expressions help you end conversations in a friendly and respectful way. Now, let's talk about when things don't go as planned. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes you need to cancel or reschedule plans. In these situations, it's important to sound polite and understanding. Instead of saying, I can't come, try saying things like, something came up, or I won't be able to make it, or I'm really sorry, but can we reschedule? For example, if you need to cancel dinner, you can say, I hate to do this last minute, but can we reschedule for tomorrow? Let's practice. Something urgent just came up. Can we move our meeting to another time? I'm really sorry for the inconvenience. Thanks for understanding. These phrases are very useful in both work and personal communication. Now, let's shift our focus to expressing opinions in everyday conversations. Sharing your thoughts clearly and politely is an important part of fluent speaking. Instead of always saying, I think, try using, in my opinion, from my perspective, or I believe that. For example, in a group discussion, you can say, in my opinion, we should focus more on customer feedback, or from my perspective, it makes sense to take a short break before starting the next project. Let's practice a few. I honestly believe that was the right choice. From my point of view, it could have been handled better. To me, it seems like a good opportunity. Personally, I would recommend taking it slow. Repeat these until they feel natural. Next, let's look at phrases for talking about daily routines. Many conversations are about habits, work schedules, or free time activities. You can say, I usually wake up around, most days I go to work at, in the evenings I like to. For example, on weekdays I usually wake up at 6:30 and go for a short walk, or after dinner, I like to unwind with a good book. Let's practice together. I normally have coffee before starting work. Most days, I take the bus to the office. In my free time, I enjoy watching documentaries. Every Saturday, I visit my grandparents. These phrases are great for small talk and getting to know people. Now let's talk about future plans. Instead of only using I will, which can sound a bit formal, you can use more natural expressions. Try saying, I'm going to, I plan to, I'm thinking of, I might. For example, I'm going to visit my friend this weekend. I plan to catch up on some work. Let's practice. I'm going to try that new cafe tomorrow. I'm planning to watch a movie this weekend. I might go shopping later. I'm thinking of starting a new book soon. These phrases help you sound relaxed and natural. Now let's move on to talking about past experiences. Instead of only saying I did, you can use richer expressions. For example, I had the chance to, I once tried, back then I used to. You could say, I had the chance to visit the mountains. It was peaceful and refreshing. Or, I once tried skydiving. It was scary but exciting. Let's practice. I had a great time last weekend. I used to visit that place often. A while ago, I took a cooking class. I remember trying sushi for the first time. These phrases make your stories more interesting. Finally, let's practice conditional phrases, which are useful for giving advice or imagining situations. Common examples include, if I were you, if I had the chance, I would probably. For example, If I were you, I'd go for it. Or, if I had the chance to work abroad, I'd take it. Let's say a few together. If I had more time, I'd start a side project. If I were in your position, I'd talk to the manager. These phrases help you give advice in a thoughtful and supportive way. I'd probably choose the second option. If I were you, I'd take it easy today. Keep practicing these kinds of phrases until they come natural when you're giving suggestions or thinking out loud. The more you repeat them, the more confident you'll feel when speaking. Another useful area to practice is making suggestions politely. In daily conversations, we often share ideas or recommend something. Instead of giving direct commands like, do this, it's better to use softer and friendlier expressions. You can say things like, how about we? Why don't we? Maybe we could. For example, when planning with a friend, you might say, how about we grab lunch together tomorrow? Or, why don't we take the scenic route home? These expressions keep your tone relaxed, polite, and cooperative. Let's practice a few. Maybe we could meet a bit earlier. How about watching something funny tonight? Why don't we try the new Italian restaurant? We could also call them later. These phrases are easy to use and help conversations feel friendly and balanced. Now let's talk about agreeing politely. When you agree with someone, showing it politely makes the conversation smoother and shows respect. Instead of only saying yes, you can use more expressive responses. For example, that's so true. I completely agree. You're absolutely right. If someone says, it's hard to stay motivated in winter, you could respond, I totally agree. The short days make it tough. Let's practice. Exactly. That's a great point. You took the words right out of my mouth. I couldn't agree more. Using these responses helps show that you're listening and engaged. Sometimes, though, you may not fully agree, and that's okay. What's important is to disagree politely and respectfully. Instead of saying, no, you're wrong, try softer phrases like, I see what you mean, but, or, that's one way to look at it, however, or, I'm not sure I agree with that. For example, in a conversation about working from home, you could say, I get your point, but I actually enjoy being in the office more. Let's practice a few polite disagreements. I respect your opinion, but I think differently. That's interesting, but here's how I see it. You may be right, though I have a different view. That's one perspective, however, I'd argue otherwise. These expressions help keep discussions thoughtful and calm, even when opinions differ. Now let's move on to expressing emotions. Emotions are a natural part of human interaction, and using varied expressions makes your English sound more real and personal. Instead of saying, I'm happy, you can say, I'm thrilled, I'm feeling great today. Instead of saying, I'm sad, try, I'm feeling a bit down, or it's been a tough day. Let's practice. I'm over the moon about the good news. I've been feeling a bit stressed lately. Today's been really peaceful. I'm super excited for the weekend. Being able to express your feelings clearly helps you sound more fluent and genuine. Next, let's look at asking for clarification or more information. In daily life, we don't always understand everything the first time. Instead of saying, what? Or say that again, it's better to use polite and natural phrases. You can say, could you repeat that, please? Sorry, I didn't catch that. Would you mind saying that one more time? Let's practice together. Sorry, what was that again? I'm not sure I understood. Could you explain it a little more? Do you mean that we should start earlier? I didn't quite get that. Can you rephrase it? These phrases show respect and help you communicate more clearly. Now let's practice offering help and being kind in everyday situations. These expressions create a warm and supportive atmosphere. Instead of just saying, I can help, try, would you like a hand with that? Let me know if you need anything. I'd be happy to help. For example, if a coworker looks busy, you could say, "Need a hand with those files?" Or, "I can take care of this if you're in a rush." Let's practice. Let me help you with that. Is there anything I can do for you? Feel free to ask if you need assistance. I'd love to help if I can. These thoughtful phrases help build strong relationships at work, school, and in social life. We also often need to confirm or check information. It's helpful to do this politely so you don't sound abrupt. You can say, "Just to be sure. So what you're saying is, let me make sure I got this right." For example, "Just to be sure, you want me to send this by Friday, correct? So you're suggesting we move the meeting to next week." Let's practice. Let me confirm this with you. If I understand correctly, you'll be out of town tomorrow. Can I check something with you quickly? So we're meeting at the cafe, right? These phrases help avoid misunderstandings and make conversations clearer. Finally, let's look at conversational fillers. These are small phrases we use to give ourselves time to think and keep the conversation flowing naturally. Common examples include, "Well, let me think. You know, actually, to be honest." For example, "Well, I'm not sure about that. To be honest, I haven't really thought about it." Try using these naturally. "Let me think for a second. You know, that reminds me of something. Actually, I had a different experience." These small phrases don't carry strong meaning, but they make your speech sound natural, relaxed, and fluent. Well, it's kind of complicated. These filler phrases are very useful because they help you sound more fluent and natural. They also give you a short moment to think and prepare your next sentence without stopping suddenly. Native speakers use these fillers all the time in real conversations. Now let's talk about phrases that help you exit a conversation politely. In daily life, there are times when you need to leave a conversation, but you don't want to sound rude or unfriendly. Instead of just saying bye, you can use polite and warm expressions. You can say things like, "It was nice chatting with you. Let's catch up later. I should get going now." For example, after a friendly talk with a coworker, you might say, "All right, I'll let you get back to work." Or, "Let's talk again soon." Let's practice some polite exits together. "I really enjoyed talking with you. I'd better get going. Talk to you later. Let's continue this later. I have to run. Thanks for the chat. See you around." These phrases help you end conversations smoothly, respectfully, and on a positive note. Sometimes you need to express uncertainty or say that you don't know something, instead of directly saying, "I don't know," which can sound a bit short or unhelpful. You can use softer and more thoughtful phrases. For example, you can say, "I'm not quite sure. That's a good question. Let me find out and get back to you." Let's practice. "I'm not certain, but I'll check. That's something I haven't looked into yet. I'll need a moment to think about that. I don't have the full details, but I can find out." These expressions help you stay honest while still sounding polite and engaged in the conversation. Now let's practice casual phrases for meeting someone new or reconnecting after a long time. These phrases are very useful for social situations and networking. You can say, "Nice to meet you. It's been a while. How have you been?" For example, when you meet an old friend, you might say, "Hey, it's so good to see you. How have things been?" Let's practice together. "It's been ages since we last talked. Great seeing you again. I've heard so much about you. It's a pleasure to finally meet you in person." These friendly openers help create a comfortable and positive first impression. Next, let's talk about expressing preferences and making decisions. Instead of saying something very direct like, "I want this," you can use more natural and polite phrases. You can say, "I'd prefer," "I'm leaning toward," "I think I'll go with this one." For example, at a restaurant, you might say, I'm leaning toward the grilled salmon, or I think I'll go with the chicken wrap. Let's practice. I'd rather stay in tonight. I'm more into quiet places. I'd prefer something less spicy. I think this one suits me better. These expressions help others understand your choices clearly and politely. In everyday life, it's also very important to express gratitude and appreciation. Instead of only saying thank you can use warmer and more sincere expressions. For example, I really appreciate it. That means a lot to me. Thanks so much for your help. Let's practice. I truly appreciate your support. Thanks a lot. That helped me more than you know. I'm really grateful for your kindness. Thanks again for everything. These phrases show respect and help strengthen personal and professional relationships. Finally, let's end with some motivational and encouraging phrases. These are powerful words you can use to encourage others or remind yourself to stay positive. Simple phrases like, "You've got this," "Keep going," "You're doing great." For example, if a friend is nervous before a test, you might say, "You've prepared well. You've got this." Let's practice these motivating phrases. Believe in yourself. You're stronger than you think. Just keep moving forward. Every step counts, no matter how small. Stay focused. You're on the right track. Ending conversations or even your day with positive expressions help create a confident and encouraging English-speaking environment. So there you have it, 80 powerful, useful, and natural English phrases that can help you speak confidently in everyday life, from casual greetings to polite suggestions, from expressing emotions to offering help, from showing gratitude to staying motivated. These phrases are the building blocks of fluent conversation. Keep listening, keep repeating, keep practicing. Remember, fluency doesn't come overnight, but with daily practice and regular use of these phrases, you will feel your improvement day by day. If you found this lesson helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Feel Learns English and tap the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video.